Welcome and thank you for watching our presentation. Firstly, I would like to introduce our topic, the Australian 24-hour movement guidelines versus the individual needs of the child. In other words, we are looking at a set of guidelines that inform us of what a child's day should look like in terms of their sleep, physical and sedentary behaviours, and comparing it to the individual needs of the child. The Australian 24-hour movement guidelines were adopted in 2017. The guidelines originated in Canada in 2016 and were adapted through a grade allotment approach. This means that Australia could benefit the considerable amount of work that was established by Canada already, and in this case, save on money, time and resources. The leadership in charge of adapting Canada's movement guidelines to recreate the guidelines for Australia consisted of principal investigators, representatives from the Australian Government, the National Heart Foundation of Australia, and professional support from Early Start at the University of Wollongong. A consensus panel was also formed which included parents and those from Indigenous communities to have their say about the guidelines. Funnily enough, parents felt there needed to be clear messaging to minimise feelings of guilt that may have been associated with not meeting the guidelines. Minor adaptations were made to the wording of the guidelines, but the principles and recommendations stayed the same as those of the Canada guidelines. This had our team wondering, especially seeing as the guidelines state how they are irrespective of gender, cultural or language backgrounds, geographic location or socio-economic status, all which is very different to Canada. So during this presentation, we will address what the guidelines state compared to the needs of an individual child. Does your child or a child you care for sleep for as long as the guidelines say? We recognise that all children are different and have different needs. We will be critiquing the guidelines from a critical and postmodern perspective to formulate our argument. Please become familiar with the Australian 24-hour movement guidelines brochure on the next slide.